Hello, my friends, and happy December 4th. And welcome to Master MicroStrategy, where you and I are looking to master the genius that is Michel Saylor 7 days a week. We are the only daily show in existence that is bringing you intel, insight into MicroStrategy news, tweets, videos, updates, all that stuff. So tune in, subscribe 7 days a week. And today we're going to be talking about what happens to MicroStrategy if Bitcoin goes down to 20,000. We're also going to be talking about some other cool things like what Justin Sung of Tron has to say and some other cool tidbits you won't want to miss. But don't forget, we are not giving you financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Please consult one before you make any financial decisions and do your own research. But I'll help you with some research right now with the MSTR tracker site. As you can see, the stock closed at 373 yesterday. It is up in the pre-market, but we'll see what happens. It brought us down 3 spots to 120 in the S&P 500 ranking, but still well into the 500 stocks in the S&P 500. The Bitcoin price is chopping right around 95.7. So that's one of the reasons why MicroStrategy has been pretty choppy as well, because, hey, it's Bitcoin has been too. The Bitcoin balance is still at 402,100. 15 billion profit with a 64% return. The NAV premiums dropped now to 2.27. So the NAV premium gets down. To me, that's pretty cool because that means it has a good amount to go up if it ever chooses to do that. And I think anybody that's pro MicroStrategy thinks that it will, myself included. Let's move on to the first article of the day. This is what would happen if Bitcoin dropped to 20,000? Guess what? MicroStrategy, as you can see in this article, is not worried. Bitcoin would have to drop down into the 18,000 range before MicroStrategy would even have to consider doing anything. And I got to believe, by the way, that Michel Saylor has some really good aces up his sleeve if that was ever even to be the case. But I mean, if you think about it, wow, nothing's impossible. Of course, nothing is impossible. But the fact that Bitcoin bottomed out at like $16,000, and that was before ETFs, that was before Larry Fink came in and was just saying how awesome Bitcoin was. And that was before Michel Saylor has been purchasing all this Bitcoin. He's purchasing it back then, but not nearly in this quantity. This is before companies like Rumble and Marathon and all these insurance companies are coming in and saying, how do I get my hands on more Bitcoin? Nation states, it's happening, my friends. Game theory is executed. It is in motion, and it's a fun time to be alive, let me tell you. So this article just gets into details about the fact that Bitcoin could go all the way down to 20,000, and MicroStrategy could just sit there and be like, okay, let's just buy the dip. Let's buy the freaking dip. So I love seeing this stuff. And again, I'm sure that Michel Saylor has a lot more things up his sleeve as well, if that was ever to be the case of Bitcoin crashing to anything even close to that level. I don't know if you watched the Plan B video the other day that he puts out once a month, but he basically called 42,000 like the bottom line resistance for Bitcoin, because that is the moving average that he talked about in that video. So check it out on YouTube. It's a great video. I like following him. Something that I really wanted to share with you today was from Justin Sun. He had a cryptic tweet about Tron, TRX's future, as he mentions MicroStrategy. This is, by the way, a picture of him buying a piece of art. I think the piece of art, by the way, was like 6.4 million. It was somewhere around there. It was in the millions. And it was of a banana essentially taped to a wall. And he bought it, took off the tape, and ate the banana. I mean, this guy, he knows how to get attention. He knows how to get publicity. He recently bought like $30 million in change of Donald Trump's crypto coin, World Liberty Foundation, or whatever that one is called. And I don't think he bought it because he thinks it's a good investment. Maybe he did, I don't know. But I'm sure he bought it to get closer to Donald Trump and the United States government in general and the president of the United States. So this guy knows what he's doing. Tron is up huge, by the way. Full disclosure, I own quite a bit of Tron. I've been an owner since it was at about 4 cents, and it now just crossed 40 cents. So it's been a fantastic investment for me. And I love what Justin Sun is doing with Tron. They're doing some really cool things. Of course, the majority of my non-Bitcoin investment is in MicroStrategy and will remain that way, because that is, to me, the wealth generational opportunity of our lifetimes, in my opinion, not financial advice. But I love seeing what Justin Sung is doing, because he recognizes what Michel Saylor is doing with Bitcoin. And he's going to do that with Tron or something similar, probably, possibly. And that's what this article talks about. As you can see, his tweet is MicroStrategy's MicroStrategy's success shows how innovation beats outdated regulations. Under Trump, U.S. crypto deregulation is finally shifting. Who's better than our own MicroStrategy for Tron, for TRX? Stay tuned. And then a little rocket emoji because, listen, rocket emojis, you can't beat them. And so he set X on fire by doing that. What could a Tron MicroStrategy look like? And of course, it's just following the Michel Saylor playbook, which is pretty exciting. So love seeing that kind of stuff. And, again, Justin Sun's a master at publicity and getting attention. So wouldn't be surprised if other founders start doing the same thing. This is a tweet I wanted to share. It was about Michel Saylor's Keyman risk. Now, a lot of people try to come up with reasons why MicroStrategy is risky, is overvalued, is in danger, etc. One of them is Keyman risk, meaning if Michel Saylor gets hit by a bus and dies, what happens to MicroStrategy? Well, it's debunked by Chris here, and 3 main reasons. You can take a pause here if you want to and read these 3 reasons. But essentially, he's just saying, listen, MicroStrategy is knowing what works. Michel Saylor is key. He's amazing. He's the leader of this movement. But guess what? If something was to happen to him, he has people that would step up and follow the same course that he has set going forward, because everybody in MicroStrategy is marching to that same beat. I wanted to share this tweet as well from Ben Workman. I mean, this guy is just a legend when it comes to MicroStrategy. 10 trading days ago, MicroStrategy price that we all have was an all-time high close. Why is everybody so worked up right now? We went vertical for 20 days. And I remember that, by the way. It was like, whoa. And we have stayed repriced up here. I was buying at 125, 135. So I wasn't early to the game, but I was a lot earlier than we are now. And I can remember when it went vertical being like, this is insane. Of course, this can't last forever. And nothing does. And now it's repriced. And now we're up here and we're hanging out here, ready for our next move. And he says, relax, it's going to be fine. So I just wanted to bring that to our attention. Obviously, you guys know I love the Bitcoin Therapist, and he wrote, Michel Saylor has given the corporate blueprint for issuing debt to every business in the world. And now we are watching shareholders of these companies beg their board to buy as much Bitcoin as possible. That is happening, my friends, and it's only going to get more exciting as more companies pile in. The FOMO sets in, the game theory sets in. Companies, corporations, nation states, pension funds, hedge funds. I was going to say wedge funds. Let's call them wedge funds too. If you're a wedge fund, you better be buying MicroStrategy, MicroStrategy as well. I love this right here. Bill Miller, this guy's a legend, obviously. He says, Saylor is running a clinic in capital allocation, and most finance professors are asleep at the wheel. And, Bill Miller's a proven commodity, and he's obviously aware, and he's ahead of the game. And again, anybody that's not aware and makes the same tired, just lazy arguments, they're just scared. They're just egotistical. They're not doing the research, or a combination of all of those things. So ignore them. Ignore them. And let me actually go ahead and just share this. I apologize. I had not shared this during that rant, but you can see right here real quick, the Bill Miller tweet is right here in front of us. So you can go ahead and see that. As we now move on to the highlight from yesterday, and I want to call it the highlight, it's actually the low light, is, the clown that we know as Jason Calacanis, I believe you pronounce his name, is here, trying to sound smart about something that he missed out on, probably, one of the biggest opportunities that he'll ever have missed. And he's just digging himself a deeper ditch. But in reality, as we've talked about in the past, he's just trying to get attention. That's all he's doing. Take it away.
I think it's like crazy, stupid, behavior is other folks are moving the treasury. So there was a tweet. If you pull up Michel Saylor's tweets, he is pumping all day long, this stuff. And by pumping, I mean sharing memes or telling other people what they should do. So pull up Michel Saylor's tweets. And if you look at his replies, if you scroll down in his replies specifically, you'll see him saying other people should move their treasuries into Bitcoin. And Rumble's CEO said they're going to buy 20 billion. And then there's another company I'd never heard of that does Bitcoin mining that now they're also selling.
Okay. I mean, that's just where I say cope harder. Like, Jason, can you seriously cope harder? We know you missed. We know you're embarrassed about it. Cope harder, please. We will end with this. I think this is really a great video. There's some good content here. So I will press play and enjoy.
MicroStrategy adding to its Bitcoin hoard, purchasing 15,400 Bitcoin at about $95,000, $96,000 per Bitcoin for a total cost of $1.5 billion. The company's executive chairman tweeted, we hodl hodl, more than 400,000 Bitcoin. Join us now, Michel Saylor, MicroStrategy Executive Chairman. Your average, Michael, it's good to have you in studio again. Your average for those 400,000 is 58,000 per Bitcoin. So it's been moving higher as you keep buying at higher prices.
We bought it about 42 times since August of 2020 to today.
From August of, and at this point, the strategy is to issue stock or convertible debt of MicroStrategy and use that to buy Bitcoin.
We're a Bitcoin treasury company, so we're securitizing Bitcoin. We're providing high performance equity. We're also providing convertible bonds. We've provided other kinds of bonds in the past, but primarily our job is to bridge the traditional capital markets that want bonds, or they want fixed income, or they want equity, or they want options. And we plug that into the crypto economy, and we use Bitcoin as the vehicle to do that.
What percentage of the public do you think understands Bitcoin at this point? Because I don't know if it helps to go into your strategy, what you just tweeted about. If people don't even understand Bitcoin, and I still see it everywhere, that it's air, or that it's not like gold because you can't make jewelry out of it. Believe it or not, still people saying that because you can't touch it, that it can't be real and it can't represent money. So can we go into how you're arbitraging it to make a return?
Yeah, here's what you need to know.
Okay.
The S&P is about 15 ARR for the past 4 years, and the volatility of the S&P is 15.
Okay.
If you want to own a commodity like silver or soybeans or gold, they have very, very low performance, less than 15%, 5%, 0%. You don't really want to hold soybeans for 100 years. And sometimes they have volatility, but it doesn't last that long. Bitcoin is 60 volatility, 60 ARR, and it is a legal commodity, but it is an economic scarcity. It is the only commodity invented in the history of the human race that's absolutely capped. And so that means you can expect it to keep going up. If I can give you a commodity that outperforms the S&P index, if I can give you a commodity that's more volatile than the S&P index, you can put 100% of your liquid assets in that commodity per SEC rules. I can't do it with a security, by the way. So up until Bitcoin, people had to use gold or real estate as their commodity, or they have to use the US Treasury bill. Those are all underperforming the S&P, and they're less volatile. Bitcoin is the first thing you can use in your treasury that's more volatile, that outperforms the S&P. The result is, if I give you a security, Joe, that outperforms the S&P, how much of it do you want to buy? And if you're an ARB or an options trader, and I give you an option that is 4x the volatility of the S&P, or with MicroStrategy, we're 10x the volatility of the S&P, how much of it do you want to trade? So Bitcoin's unique in the history of the capital markets. It's the first scarcity commodity, outperforming the S&P, more volatile than the S&P, that you can put on your balance sheet.
Volatility sometimes is not always a good thing. I mean, it's great when something's going higher. But don't think that there'll be a drop or a significant drop that comes along? Have we moved past that because of the regulatory changes that have taken place?
I think it'll remain volatile because it's a 24/7, 365 global asset. You can panic sell it on Saturday night. You can enthusiastically buy it on Sunday morning. That's a feature. Mm-hmm. That's not a bug.
Yeah, you've lived through some of the swings, but do you think we won't see the downturns like we've seen in the past just because of the changes we've seen?
I think it's going to surge through the roof, and then it's going to surge to 180 and crash to 140, and people will be freaking out about it again. But let me make this one analogy. Volatility is like fire, and some people run away from the fire, but Henry Ford put the fire into a carriage via an engine, created an entire industry, and he gave humanity wings.
Can we talk about, so I've been leading up to for me and for everybody to understand your tweet just from, I think, in the last hour. So what you do last week with the treasury operations, you were able to generate a Bitcoin yield of 2.55%, or over almost 10,000 Bitcoin to shareholders using an arbitrage. Can you explain it? Will I be able to understand this if you explain this?
We sold $1.5 billion worth of stock, backed by $500 million worth of Bitcoin. We bought back $1.5 billion of Bitcoin. We captured nearly $1 billion gain in the arbitrage. That we can do with equity day by day. When we do it with debt, we issue $3 billion of debt that's backed by $600 million of Bitcoin that comes due in 5 years. We pay 0% interest. We buy $3 billion of Bitcoin. We capture the $2.4 billion in the arbitrage gain up front. But then over the course of the 5 years, we double or we quadruple the investment because we're buying an asset which is appreciating faster than the S&P.
What you told me was that it's 55% premium over conversion, but a zero coupon. Is that?
Yeah, that was a zero coupon 55. Yeah. And you can do that because Bitcoin is high vol, and the companies that have Bitcoin on their balance sheet have even higher volatility. So Mara is a great example. 2 weeks ago, they did $1 billion convert, zero coupon, to buy Bitcoin. This week, they're back in the market doing another $1 billion convert, zero coupon, to buy Bitcoin. You can rinse and repeat that frequently.
And there you have it, my friends. Michel Saylor's genius coming at us, the wealth generation of our lifetimes, in my opinion. And I hope you enjoyed another episode of Master MicroStrategy. We are the only daily show bringing you all the tips, updates, news, strategies that is being employed by MicroStrategy and Michel Saylor, literally 7 days a week. So if you want access to this, just subscribe. I love comments. We've been having some great conversations in the comment section. So leave a comment of your thoughts, that you love it, that you hate it, that you agree with it, you disagree with it. We have great conversations in the comments. So appreciate your time. Remember, this is not financial advice. Consult a financial advisor before making any financial decisions. And please remember, there is no second best.